Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are doing another Be Better project. This is a Be Betterification of a whipped pumpkin spice body butter that I first shared back in 2016, and so today's updated version is a whipped autumn spice body butter. Now, the area that I spent the most time on with this Be Betterification was actually the process. In the version I shared in 2016, I used a freeze whip procedure to get it nice and light and whippy, and I wanted to see if I could devise something that was a little less fussy, because while the freeze whip, etc., does work very well, it requires a lot of setting of timers, and you kind of have to be on. You have to be on duty, but with lots of little sort of 2-minute downtime sessions while it's in the freezer. So I wanted to see if I could come up with something that was, either a little bit easier or just kind of happened all at once. And I did. And if you want to read more about that, make sure you read the blog post, because it's a sort of a much better place for me to detail all the different things I tried and then why they did or didn't work. So that is linked in the description box below. In addition to faffing around with the process of making this body butter, I also fully percentagified it. And then one other thing I did is I switched the essential oils that I used in the 2016 version for a fragrance oil instead. The reason I did this is because the spices that constitute pumpkin spice, so mainly cinnamon, clove, and ginger, have the potential to be really quite irritating to the skin, and because of that, those essential oils have really low maximum usage levels. Even though the 2016 version uses just a few drops of essential oils, I'm pretty sure that it's too much in the case of the cinnamon essential oil. As I was percentagifying this formulation, I went and weighed out the essential oils and calculated what their usage rate sort of likely would have come out to be. Of course, drops aren't super specific, and I'm pretty sure in almost every case it would have been higher than it's supposed to be. So as an easy, skin-safe way to get a really lovely autumnal scent, instead of using essential oils, which we have to use at incredibly low amounts, I have instead used a fragrance oil. The fragrance oil that I'm using is a oak barrel cider one from New Directions Aromatics, which is part of the reason I call this autumn spice instead of pumpkin spice, because it has more of sort of an appley cinnamon scent than a pumpkin spice scent, but you can definitely buy pumpkin spice fragrance oils and you could use that instead. Make sure you are checking with your supplier to make sure that the fragrance oil that you have is safe for leave-on applications at the rate that I've used it here. When you buy fragrance oils, there's usually a list of a bunch of different types of projects that you could put fragrance oils in with maximum allowable usage rates for each of those types. You might find that you're looking at a fragrance oil and it looks absolutely lovely, but if it has only really been developed for candle use, it might not have a safe allowable skin use, so just make sure you are checking up on that before buying and or using your fragrance oils. I think that's enough chat. Please make sure you are reading the blog post. There's lots of really great information in there that is linked in the description box below this video, or just go to humblebeeandme.com and search for the name of this project. But yeah, let's go make some gorgeous autumn spice whipped body butter. We'll begin by combining our heated phase ingredients in a bowl. So you want to make sure that the bowl you choose is deep enough that you can, really get in there with a beater and not spray body butter all over the room. And you also want to make sure that it's adequately sized, not too big, not too small. If it's too big, you'll have a hard time whipping the body butter, and if it's too small, you'll also have problems and a mess on your hands. So I'm making a 70-gram batch today, and then this is my bowl size, sort of hand/spatula for scale. So you're going to need 30.8 grams mango butter, 14 grams refined shea butter, and I do recommend refined rather than unrefined for the sort of smell reasons, and 23.38 grams macadamia nut oil. For a bit of color, you'll want 1.4 grams of a sort of autumnal mica. So this one is sort of a bronzy color, but kind of, I feel like bronze or copper or red or gold could work really well, sort of anything that makes you think of autumn. And if you don't want to use the mica, you can just replace it with a bit more shea butter. To melt everything through, we'll use a water bath. This is a small saucepan. I've got about 1 inch or 3 centimeters of water in the bottom of it. Just carefully place that in there, and I'm going to go put this on the stovetop over medium-low heat for about half an hour to melt everything through. Once everything has melted, you can remove your pan from the heat, and then you can remove the bowl from your water bath. Give that a bit of a stir to combine, and then our next step is putting this in the fridge to chill through until it is completely solid. So how long this takes will depend a lot on how big your batch is, but you know, if you do this right before going to bed and put it in the fridge overnight, that'll most definitely be long enough. I think I'm going to pop this in the fridge and take my dog for a walk, so I'll see you later. Once the mixture has completely chilled and hardened through, we're going to weigh in our cool down phase and then whip it. So we'll pop that on our scale. This is a scale that is precise to 2 decimal points of a gram, and to learn more about it, please look it up in the Humblebee and Me encyclopedia under precision scale. So the first ingredient in our cool down phase is our autumnal fragrance oil. So this is the oak barrel cider type fragrance from New Directions Aromatics, and we need 0.07 grams. Our other cool down ingredient is some MT50 vitamin E, and we need 0.35 grams of that. All right, so that is all of our ingredients into the body butter. So I'm going to give this a brief whipping pre-ice bath, and then we are going to introduce an ice bath. So you can see not much whipping at all, just kind of enough to get those cool down ingredients incorporated a bit. So for the bulk of the whipping, we're actually going to pop the body butter in an ice bath. So this is a bowl that has about an inch of ice on the bottom of it. You can just put an inch of water in a bowl, pop it in the freezer, freeze it solid, and then about another inch of liquid water on top of that. And so we are going to whip the body butter in this ice bath, and the ice bath will keep the body butter from getting too warm to whip properly without having to bounce the body butter between the freezer and the whipping on the counter. I'm going to stop briefly here to scrape down the sides. The color change really kind of gives away whether or not a part of the body butter has been whipped yet, but you can see we're already getting a really lovely marshmallowy consistency here. So once the body butter is nice and light and fluffy and you're getting some really lovely soft peaks, we're gonna leave it to just fully come to room temperature before finishing up and then packaging. So once the body butter has come to room temperature, we're just gonna give it a quick little whip to kind of get it moving again. You can see it is still nice and soft, and then we are going to package it up. So yeah, really quick. We don't want to overbeat it or it will get real soft. And then for packaging, I'm using this paperboard container. We want to just sort of gently transfer it in here. This is definitely going to be too big of a container for this batch, but it is the only size I have now. The picture that you see in the blog also uses a paperboard container, but it uses a 2-ounce one instead of a 4-ounce one, and it's definitely much better sized. Well, for everybody who goes, hey, how do you always choose the right container size? There's proof that I definitely don't. For a bit of an application demo, we can grab some of the body butter there. Goes on with a fairly decent amount of color, but as you smooth it out to sort of a level of application that's, you know, sort of actually enjoyable, you can see that it doesn't really leave any color on the skin at all. Definitely feels rich and, well, buttery, but it's not super, super heavy. You know, I can already feel that we're more into that nice sort of satiny, lovely skin feel rather than sort of like oily or sticky. And we've got a gorgeous soft scent of autumn spice. For a label, I'm going to use one of these custom labels I designed and had printed up. That fits just about perfectly there. And there you go. So we just made a lovely, fragrant, autumnal autumn spice whipped body butter. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you are reading the full partner blog post linked in the description box below to learn more about the different whipping methods I tried as I worked on this formulation, links to places to buy all the ingredients, information on substitutions, scaling, shelf life, and a whole lot more. Yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you next time.